Good day. It's exciting to be a part of this year's Reuters Mobility Conference. Thanks for thinking of California and inviting us to be a part of it. I'm Toks, Director of the California Department of Transportation, also known as Caltrans. We're excited to be a part of the movement that's happening in America and California, and of course, our impact on the global efforts as well to continue to electrify the fleet. If we're going to get there, it's going to take organizations, large and small, private and public, to be able to continue to push innovation, listen to communities, engage communities, be supportive, provide incentives to communities to ultimately get us to that place that we all want to be with a cleaner, safer transportation system. So, particularly in California, at the Department of Transportation, we're experiencing growing cultural change. We're becoming a department that is more people-centered, that's more people-focused. A lot of transportation departments traditionally are focused on infrastructure and delivering that infrastructure mostly. But we're not only doing that, delivering that infrastructure, but we're saying we need to do it in a people-centered way with the people who work for the department internally, more than 22,000 people agency, to the people of California, the more than 40 million people who live in this state. And to get there, to become a more people-centered Department of Transportation, we've developed 3 foundational principles: equity, climate action, and safety. And if we do our work through that lens of focusing on those foundational principles, we believe we will be able to get there in providing the system that and network that people in the state truly deserve and need. But why focus so keenly specifically on climate action? Well, in California, 41% of the GHG in the state comes from the transportation sector. Nationally, in the United States, that number is 29%. But in California, 41%. And some estimates even drive that number and show that number reaches up to nearly 50% in California. What's the impact of this GHG increases or the high numbers that we have in California? Well, you've seen it on the news if you don't live here. You've seen it across the world. Wildfires, mudslides, droughts, floods, all kinds of different extreme weather events continue to challenge the state. And that's just a big picture. Much less if you think about individual families, issues related to asthma and cleaner air challenges that you see in some marginalized and underserved communities. Those challenges are there. We bear a responsibility as the State Department of Transportation to do the very best we can to make the system healthier and cleaner for the people we serve. And part of the reason why we're so focused on this is our strategic mission statement as well, to provide a safe and reliable transportation network that serves all people and respects the environment. Because we know if we do this, the rewards will be beneficial. Cleaner air for all the breed, decreased carbon emissions for our communities and our planet, and reduced road congestions, possibly just to name a few. The EV market report in California has been amazing. It's been incredible to see our state, to see California continue to lead the way. As of June of 2021, more than 924,000 EVs have been sold in California. That's roughly 48% of the entire market of the United States. Part of that success has come because the state has not only put in place regulations and policies leading us towards a more electric fleet, but in particular the resources that have been dedicated towards it. Over the last 10 years, more than $1 billion, more than $100 million a year has been spent towards incentivizing people, the people of the state to go in this direction more. Very exciting to report that even though that national number is hovering just a little over 2 million, We're going to get even further, I believe, in the coming months and years, in large part due to the federal administration that's in place today, the Biden administration, through the America Jobs Plan, their first infrastructure proposal as they came into office. And there have been several iterations since, but that initial plan showed how bold and transformative this administration wants to be. $100 billion proposed in incentives to address the challenge that we face when it comes to electrifying the fleet. And as that movement happens nationally, the 2 million number, I believe, will continue to see a rapid increase, not only for the country, but for California as well. So to hone in a little bit more on what's happening in California, our friends at the California Air Resources Board have been leading the way, and we at Caltrans have been partners along the way with them in this effort. But I mentioned earlier, more than 900,000 vehicles sold to date, electric vehicles sold to date, representing 9% of the entire vehicles being sold in the state, which is a big number. Much more work to do there, but still approaching nearly 10% of all vehicles sold in the state are electric. More than 64 models are available in California, more than 73,000 chargers, 47 hydrogen fueling stations, approximately 34 manufacturers of ZEVs, $9,500 in grants and rebates available to low-income Californians, an incredible number, the fact that the number one valued export out of the state of California today are ZEVs, more than $5.6 billion in value in 2020 alone. So a lot of promise, a lot of excitement happening in the ZEV market space for the state of California. But part of that success clearly comes from not only the policies and the regulations that the legislature and the governor have put in place, but the resources very much have played a big role in this. I mentioned the fact that more than $1 billion has been spent over the last 10 years in incentives for people to get into the ZEV market. Well, those numbers are about to see a dramatic increase. Governor Newsom, with his California comeback plan, recently announced, as you can see in this figure, more than $2.3 billion over the next 3 years alone to boost the ZEV market in California. Of particular attention is the fifth line down in this budget list. The CVRP program is a $525 million program over the next 3 years. That program, CVRP, Clean Vehicle Rebate Program. This program is where people can apply for tax breaks and rebates to help purchase zero emission vehicles. So this is the incentive program. It was $100 million a year. With this effort over the next 3 years, it's going to be $175 million a year. So a lot of great resources coming to the ZEV market in California over the next 3 years. I'll close with an important fact that we continue to pay attention to the environment and try to be great stewards of the environment at Caltrans. The governor encouraged us and implored us to take on a new effort in the summer of this year, and we created and launched the Clean California effort, a $1.1 billion 3-year effort to address issues related to litter abatement, community engagement, and education and job creation. As we take on this effort, we will have a cleaner state, we will have a cleaner vehicle fleet, and we will continue to show how much we support becoming a more environmentally friendly state right here in California. And finally, an important message to keep in mind, that these efforts that we're undertaking as it relates to electrifying the fleet are efforts that have been talked about and embraced for many years, but it's an ongoing effort. At no point do we get to a place where we get to raise a banner and say mission accomplished, because this effort goes on and on. This fight goes on and on in an effort to clean our environment, and make our communities more equitable, cleaner, and safer. President Kennedy 60 years ago said, when it comes to transportation, nothing is more dramatically apparent than the inadequacy of it in our larger urban areas. The solution can't be found only in the construction of additional urban highways, vital as that job is. Other means for mass transportation, which use less space and equipment, must be improved and expanded. Perhaps even more important, planning for transportation and land use must go hand in hand as two inseparable aspects of the same process. President Kennedy imploring us 60 years ago to not only focus on building more highways, keeping in mind mass transportation, keeping in mind land use and transportation, planning for them together, but finding other ways to get to solutions, thinking of being innovative 60 years ago. The same challenge is before us today as we embrace electrifying the transportation fleet of the entire world. Let's keep in mind that message from 60 years ago. Again, thank you for inviting Caltrans in California to be a part of this year's conference. I look forward to the discussions that we'll be having throughout the rest of the conference. Thank you.